I was about 18 years old.
I remember
Um,
when you started. You were 18. Yeah.
yeah. Um, I had broken my back and I was in a hospital bed for a few months. And our guitarist Tyler came and visited me every day, and it actually gave us the time to sit and write a full album. And I guess gave us the drive to get up and record that album, and then band went from there.
We've been friends. I think we met our freshman year in high school. Yeah, when we were 14, and we're both 29 now. So, we've been buddies for a little while. But I don't know. Davin was like the only other kind of weird kid at our all boys private high school that listened to like metal and stuff. But yeah, then I was playing in other bands, and they needed a bass player, and I needed a band to play bass in. Goddamn, I am singing.
It's really fun and you have a lot of fun with your friends and it's a good way to like meet new people. I think it's just the youth trying to like get together and just try to like find a community because sometimes and I think especially for like this sort of scene people may feel kind of like alone in their school or like in that sort of environment, and so going to shows allows them to like go to a place where they can just listen to music like with a group of people and just like have some fun. I like that we have like a local music scene in Louisville. I think it's really cool and it's one of my favorite parts about Louisville.
It's stressful would be a con for sure. It's a labor of love for the most part. Like there's a lot of sacrifices you got to make, but it's also, in my opinion, worth it to see the reaction of people's faces while you play, and to be able to talk to people before and after the show, and talk to other bands and people you meet and all that stuff, people that identify with your art. All that's like, I don't know. It's just a beautiful thing.
It's it definitely takes a level of commitment. So like each of us, for a while before when we decided we wanted to come back, we wanted to make sure that we were coming back the right kind of way. So we practiced 2 days a week, setting aside like, hey, no matter what, like these 2 nights are specifically for this. Which like sometimes you have to make your work schedule work with that. Sometimes you've got to make that work with your other friendships or relationships or commitments. Um, so it definitely can have a pretty heavy impact in that, but also definitely worth it.
Yeah, the COVID thing like prevented us from playing shows and ever moving forward with that. It also kind of prevented us from being together. So I think that put a big damper on like our momentum. And then, over that time period, everybody was scrambling to get their lives together. So finally, we're all at a point where we can have the energy and the emotional depth to actually put into something else. That makes sense. Like rather than just, struggling to like keep your head above water.
Right.
I think at the time, like we like decided to like call it quits for a little while. Like a lot of us were just feeling like it was more trouble than it was worth it. Like
Mm.
with like mental health. Well, say that we all definitely struggle heavily with like mental health issues, and the band's been a great outlet for that. But at the same time, it's also like I know it's affected me, like sometimes, like especially like when we would play out of town shows and stuff, like the stress and anxiety issues I have would just like, I don't know, it would just wear me down. And like I've ended up having to go into like, inpatient and outpatient treatment, mental hospitals and stuff, just because like I felt like I was hitting dead ends, and then I'd make some progress, get knocked back down. It's just a whole bunch of stuff like that. And so we've all kind of had those like similar experiences, I'd say, where we've like struggled with things like that, where like sometimes, the music and your friends just isn't quite enough.
Mm-hmm.
Make you feel like it's worth it to be here. So we've all come out the other side of that for the most part. On personal problems with like drug abuse and stuff, but kicked all those habits. So, but I mean, I know they had to deal with me while I was doing all that, so I don't know how it feels about it. But he overcame me being a fiend. So
Yeah.
He overcame me doing the same thing. We very
yeah. Yeah. But I never understood why like artists like would OD on drugs and stuff. And then I was on tour, and I was like, wow, there's literally nothing to do except drugs. Like, you drive to a city you've never been, you have to play at 11 at night, you're there at 1 p.m., like just stuck at the venue, just chilling in a van for like 8 hours. Like, I'm just gonna smoke weed and hang out, man. I'm not gonna just sit here and be anxious the whole time. That was my mindset. I don't know. I was young, dumb.
Would you guys?
There's a lot of people like you meet in the scene, like with this type of music, that like experience something at least similar, and so like it's kind of a like I don't know, it kind of brings people together in that way. And I think that's like why I've always been drawn to like heavy music in general, and especially like local small shows and like DIY music scenes, because it's like a whole community and a family of people that are struggling and angry, frustrated, sad, and they have a place where they can go and be with other people that are also like that, but doing a little bit better, and maybe that'll make them want to do a little bit better. Oh no, they gone, bye bye. All right, I need more jumping, everybody, come on!
So like I think one more thing is definitely me personally, like the community aspect of having a scene is like so integral and so important to us that I don't think of that it's a bad thing for the scene to get bigger, to get larger, to get this larger audience. And I think that also allows for so much opportunity as a community in and of itself, to do things outside of music. As far as for us, it will be ever evolving. We definitely, although we were definitely talking about some of the worst parts about touring, we want to get back to doing that for sure, and getting out of town again, um, making more music. And then we do also want to like get a little bit more, I guess, advantageous, or I don't know the right word for it, but we just want to do more in town as well, as far as booking our own shows, and then working on more outlets to even connect with people, like maybe a zine or more pop-up shows, things of that nature. I do have one story that is like a very recent thing that is just very cool to me. Um, I know that he can kind of attest to this, but we played Static Fest earlier in the year. It was like maybe our second show back. There was this kid there. I think he said he was about 13 years old. and he asked us if he was allowed to stage dive. And we were like, well, of course, yeah, you want to stage dive, you can. And then he asked us, how do you do it? So Nolan actually like walked him through like how to do it safely, and this and that.
Yeah.
Since then, I don't think there's been an all ages show that he hasn't been at.
He like
But
stays messaging me on Instagram and stuff like, and it's so cool because you know, I saw myself like standing there alone, like, and I was like, man, I'm gonna go talk to him, see what's up, you
yeah,
know, and like as I see him come to more shows now, he's got like a circle of like homies to come with him, like, coming out of his shell like crazy. He's going hard in the pit every time, every band, and it's like
yeah,
to watch him like from earlier this year, standing by himself, just chilling, unsure. Like he knew he wanted to be there, but he wasn't quite sure of himself.
well,
And it's like,
I don't know if I've told you this,
what?
but
Oh boy.
at the showcase, Blake that was playing in Cell Intruder is also in Dig and Belushi.
Oh, we're
Came up with this kid and was like, hey, this kid just started a band and he wants to play shows.
yeah.
And immediately we were like, whenever you're ready, like either of our bands, we'll put a show like together and have you all play. But
Yeah.
like stuff like that, that's I guess the sentiment I wanted to leave is just like we've been doing this for a long time. And if there's like anything that we can do in our scene, it's help cultivate that whole connection. Just seeing a kid go from being alone at a show, not knowing if they're even allowed to do things, to getting all the way to the point where like they got their friends, they're starting bands, they're starting to play shows, and that cycle continues.